Ladies and gentlemen, sit back, put your feet up. It's time for the Other Three Amigos podcast with Declan McCormack, Wayne Mullins, and Dan.
Three lads, one podcast.
On this week's episode of the Other Three Amigos podcast, it's the TOTAPers' fault if we don't win at the awards in London. The lads answer where we'll be this time next season. Was the Athlone result one of the worst in the club's history? We go to the mailbag, find out if Gary Hunt is under pressure, and we have the Wexford Trophy lift preview. All of this and more on this week's episode of the Other Three Amigos podcast. Welcome to the Other Three Amigos. Jesus Christ, no natural. No natural there, stuck in the throat, lads. Somehow your award-winning podcast. It's season 4, episode 69, episode 245 in total, and of course your award nominated finalist. If we don't win this award, it's basically the TOTAPers' fault. Wayne Mullins, would you agree?
I agree 100%, and I just want to say thank you to the 47 people who I tagged on a tweet on Saturday night who didn't bother liking or retweeting, except for the Castle Inn. Thank you very much to Castle Inn, the only people to retweet us. There was also Red FM Sport, so thank you to them as well. And to everyone else, I would swear, I'm not going to...
Yeah, if you didn't vote for us now when you've been listening to this pod, honestly do one.
People don't want to be associated with the podcast unless we win, and then we'll all be all over the place. Well, we're not coming back to you after the pod if we win. If we win it, we're not talking to you.
Declan McCormack, do you share similar sentiments?
No, I don't. I never do. Everything is on our shoulders. I never like to put it on anybody else's shoulders, So,
Here, look, Decky, if you can't do a like and a retweet because you're afraid to be associated with someone.
I doubt it's anybody's afraid to be associated. I'd imagine a lot of people haven't a clue who we were or what we were on about, to be honest. So,
well, the Castle Inn and Cork City Centre knew who we were, and they were quite nice to retweet us. So I would say we should all go to the Castle Inn for a few pints the next time.
Absolutely,
victory parade.
Absolutely. I would imagine this is like when we started out first 4 years ago, and the first thing we did was tag Mark Scanlon in a few bits and pieces about the quality of the streams out of Turner's Cross and things like that. And I believe he had to ring Cork City to say, "What's going on here? Who's this crowd who keep tagging me and shit about streams from Turner's Cross? And why the hell do they keep tagging me?" It's like, oh yeah, that's a new podcast, Mark. I'm sure now he knows who we are. So do you know what I mean? Like there's semblance, there's parallel lines. Maybe some of those people some of the people that you tweeted didn't know who we were, but in a couple of months' time, they might definitely know who we are, So
it's too late then, Decky. I don't forget this kind of stuff, you know that.
Scotty's the memory of an elephant, lads. That's all I can tell you.
You still have a grudge since you were, 12 years old again, wasn't it?
I'd say it's probably younger, to be honest with you. It would have been late primary school. Yeah, I still have that grudge against that person. Still hold it dear to my heart.
Do you see him out and about?
No, but I still hold it. It's fine. Here, it's healthy. It keeps your heart going. It keeps keeps you kind of ticking along.
Well, look, if we don't win this Shaggin award anyway,
we've won already. We've won
Yeah,
already. So voting is closed now, so we can say what we like.
Right, a reminder, we are on YouTube, youtube.com/the Other Three Amigos podcast. Even though I'm not sure has anything actually been going up on this YouTube, I've just been calling it out the last 6 weeks.
They all get blocked because of the music we play. You can I think you can listen to, but certain countries like Dominican Republic and places like that, you can't listen to us. So look, I'm sorry for our listeners in the Dominican Republic.
So like and subscribe over there if you can in fact listen. Patreons can stream the pod on Spotify. Leave a review on the podcast apps for us. You can join our Patreon as well from €5 per month, or if you want to help the pod out a little bit more, but still get the same level of shit, you can throw us a tenner. We're still at €520 for a merry amount, and realistically, that's €820 because of West Cork Coffee Roasters. They're helping us out. Last Damus this week, Declan McCormack. I was looking forward to listening today now after a good weekend. I seen some stuff from Kieran Kilduff. was looking forward to it on my Monday commute home. But there's no sign of this Las Damas once again. What's happening?
Don't know, but Demetrius is just gonna have to be a long conversation in the off season, I think, with our new Greek intern. Fantastic with AI and YouTube and everything else, but getting the pods out is a bit of an issue. Look, it's a build up to next Sunday's cup final. It's kind of a busy week. There was a few retirements in the league, a few managerial announcements after the last game and things like that. So there's plenty in there. We just hope that it will be out before the Women's FAI Cup final on Sunday. That's all we can pray for them.
I heard Dominic Foley's leaving, is he?
Yeah, Treaty announced that a week after we announced it. So Dominic has left his job as Treaty United Women's manager, yeah.
You should know now that's against journalistic integrity to be doing stuff like that.
Well, look, I don't really look. It was a discussion, an open discussion at Cork City Sligo game in Little Island last Saturday night. I asked a few people on Sunday; they had all heard about it. So we didn't break the story. We didn't tweet it. We didn't do any of that. We just discussed it on last week's pod, like it was well known in footballing circles, which I think it was, to be fair. So yeah, there's no.
I assume Treaty were okay with that, were they?
Yeah, they were fine. Yeah, they announced, as I said, their new manager this afternoon. So they're driving ahead, getting ready for next season. All systems go up there.
It's time for Academy Watch.
You're some bollocks. I thought you were doing the other one.
Under 20s beat UCD 2-0. Under 17s beat UCD 4-1. Under 15s lost to UCD 3-1. And under 14s had no game. There's nothing to mention in Academy Watch that we know of so far. I mean, things changed quickly last week. So we're going to go into a combined Academy Watch mailbag once more. It's been a long time since we played this one.
Почтальон Пэт. Почтальон, почтальон, почтальон и черно-белый кот. Только день начнется, Пэт с утра проснется, горожанам письма повезет. Почтальон, почтальон, почтальон и черно-белый кот. Без ошибки точно.
Better stop, will it? Better stop.
Lads, we've been called out in the first one I'm reading here.
Have we?
All right.
What happened, the 40 for 40 series? For all the shit you gave the club about their anniversary efforts, you've only delivered 5% of what you promised.
Time, Dan. Basically. That's as simple as. We had people lined up and it just never happened. Because so much goes into these two podcasts. We kind of hopefully had another presenter, but again, we know what happened there. So yeah, that's what happened. Simple, really.
Fast forward to this time next year, what kind of season have City had back in the Premier Division? That comes in from Philly Crowley. We're answering the same questions every week here, anyway, as well.
Just a different take on it, to be fair. I think this time next year, we'll have a season that will have split the fan base to a degree. I think those who think we're going into the Premier Division next year and challenging for Europe and everything else will be mightily frustrated, probably disappointed. I think those who are going up and looking at it thinking, look, let's just consolidate a little bit, finished whatever, 6th, 7th, whatever we can manage, and drive on the following season will be more content. I would hope, but I would also, look, we'll get into the games later on, but lads, recruitment is everything, and there's an awful lot of recruitment to be done. And from what I'm hearing, it's like I've mentioned wage inflation on numerous occasions, and from what I'm hearing, I don't think there's a player next year who will make us better than what we are now, who will sign for Cork City for anything less than $1,000 a week. 1,200, 1,300 quid a week.
This has always been about O'Deck. This has been away since the dawn of time,
Yeah, but it runs up quickly and it builds up quickly. Dwayne, and I think 2 or 3 years ago, that figure would have been much. And Camara, I want to state it again. I don't begrudge it to players in the slightest. Like $1,000 a week is 52 grand salary in a year. It's decent money, but there's plenty of people listening to this podcast who are earning plenty more than that. So it's I think it's just going to be interesting. It's just going to be interesting to see what happens regarding signings, budgets, everything else, because I can't get my head around the Shawnee Keats signings from a budget perspective. I just, like, we had Damien Delaney last year and his whole "we don't go over budget" thing. Dermot has been very, very forthright in his view that we don't go over budget. And then we signed Shawnee and Keats. And obviously we know there's an expense to that and there's a cost to that, and everybody appreciates that the club are paying it and that, all that's been done. But as I said, does that come out of the prospective budget or was it added on top of the prospective budget? And I don't know the answer to that question, but I think we will find out in the off season, because around the league, player wage inflation is a real thing, and we may have to go much bigger budget than we had initially planned, and that's just a situation. And like, now you have the UEFA payments for next year, where clubs are gone, where it's gone from 70 or 80 grand to 750 grand. PFA are aware of that, agents are aware of that, players are aware of that. They're going to want their cut of that, rightfully so. And as I said, all this stuff is just pushing player wage inflation, and I'm very, very interested to see how the club deals with it in terms of budgeting and signing players and recruitment and that. Because as I said, you live and die by your recruitment, but our recruitment is going to cost us, and I just hope we're in a position that budgets allow us to do what we need to do.
What's your inkling on what they will do?
It's really hard to know. Like, they have to know. Look, I mean, look at the performances since we were promoted. It's staring us in the face. There's real recruitment needed. Waterford recruited well last year. They're going to finish 7th. They got out of the blocks quickly, but when push comes to shove, Waterford probably finished the season in 7th. And people have been saying all year, "Oh, we can do what Waterford did." We can, and that's what we need to do. But as I said, they're going to finish 7th. They might squeak 6th. But for us and a lot of people connected and a lot of fans around, that would be the absolute minimum they would accept next season. But like, there's a real cost to that. Like, Galway's a different story. I keep saying Galway were 4 years putting that team together, and they came out of the first division really ready for Premier Division football. But they still brought in Greg Cunningham. They still brought in Jimmy Cohan. Their recruitment was really good. They didn't do as much of it as Waterford, but what they did do was really good. Like, and all the signs are there that we have to do the same to have the same kind of season that Waterford have had this year. And there's no payback on that season. You finish 7th, you don't make Europe, you don't do anything. There's no big payday the following season. That's just money that's just invested and then has to be built on again the following season. So as I said, I genuinely don't know what my inkling is. I think we may not get as many signings as people are expecting us to get, would be my general inkling.
Wayne Mullins, what's your inkling, your spidey sense telling you?
I see his point, because like, since the dawn of time, we've always had I call it the Rick O'Flaherty tax, like, where he wouldn't come to Cork City because of the distance and the wages. But if you look at the top 5 in the Premier Division, 3 of them are there's Shells, Derry, Shamrock, Galway, Sligo. 3 are provincial teams: Derry, Sligo, and Galway. We should be competing with them. Sligo normally haven't got a pot to piss in. They were fundraising the whole time, so not having Derry have a big owner, so do Galway, but so do we. And like, there's probably 12 teams in the country that are big teams. You can call them the 12 Olympians, and we're at that table, like. And I think with money and extra backing from the Thunder Gods, who knows?
Decky?
Can I just say on Sligo Rovers, and it's something I don't see said anywhere, Sligo Rovers have an exceptional manager, in my opinion. Genuinely exceptional manager. John Russell has turned them into something that nobody predicted they would be, and he's done it, as Scotty has said, without having a pot to piss in. And it's an exceptional managerial performance, in my honest opinion, and that gives them a bit of an edge. Whether they can do it next year, who knows? Like Scotty's right, they don't have money, and any good player they have is probably in danger of getting snapped up by bigger League of Ireland clubs, you know. So they kind of have to go season on season and rebuild and find these players every year. So we'll see what they can find next year, but it's definitely an interesting one, you know.
But like, if you look at our squad now, like a lot of these players aren't from Cork. Do you know, you've got Brad Wade, you've got Greg Bolger, Malik Dykesteele, Evan McLaughlin, Rory Keating, Barry Coffey, Cian Bargery, Sean Murray, Niall Brookwell, Jack Doherty. There's loads of them there that are not from Cork. Now, I know they're probably not the calibre you want, but if we can get them down for less money, I know a grand a week's a lot of money, but if you want to take over a football club and you want to be a success, surely you know you got to pay the money. There's no point in taking over this club. If you want to be mid-table, we could have done that with Forest, like. So
We
you
couldn't
can't
be
really
mid-table with
dive
Forest,
in. Well, no, what I'm saying is you could, yeah, okay, but you can't jump in claiming European football at the start of last season and then realize, oh, okay, this is going to cost way more. It's tough. You dived in. You got to pay the bucks. That's the way it is. Or get more outside investment.
Yeah, look, I think to be fair to Dermot, I think the whole European football thing last year was pure inexperience, you know. And I genuinely hope people don't hold that against them or keep going on about it, you know, because
Decky, this is Cork's football club, like.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is,
we are European contenders every year. We should be, and we've always have been. So now to just not do it, I'm sorry, no, that's no excuse. You know, we've been like we're a big club in Ireland. We're probably top 4. We should be. We're probably top 2, I think, potential.
Okay,
not qualifying for Europe is not is inexcusable anymore. We've had a couple of years now.
Okay,
it's the 3rd year.
Okay,
get the shit together and fight for it. You know.
Okay, but in 20 minutes' time, you're going to say losing 4-1 away in Athlone doesn't matter.
No, because this season doesn't matter anymore. That's the point I'm making. We've had the last 3 months to prepare for next season. If we go into next season with a similar squad we have now, it's the same conversation we've had for the last 3 years of pissing time away.
Absolutely.
If we went out and got Keating and Maguire, right, and no other plan, heads have to roll. Like, it's inexcusable.
Completely.
But I wouldn't worry about this. I wouldn't worry about this season. No one gives a shit. It's hard for us even to get motivated to do a podcast, for Christ's sake. The club aren't even making mistakes. They couldn't even be arsed either. You know? Nobody cares. But this is the time where Tim Clancy, Drummond Usher, and anyone involved in recruitment should be on Y-Scout 24/7 or at games looking around and seeing and putting not what we did last season. I swear to God, if we get to January or February and we haven't signed these players until after the window closes, I'm going to lose my shit again.
Yeah.
Because there's no excuse this time.
I agree. And that's my thing is, it's going to be interesting to see what way it goes. Because look, there's a number of players that have been told that they're being left go, right? And one of the reasons given has been that there's younger players who can do the same job for less money. And that makes me go, oh, you know.
That's a worry.
So as I said, I just wondering what way it's all going to go. That's all I'm saying is I wonder.
2 years ago, there was a player who was called in and told, you're not going to play much next season. And 2 months later, they were asked to come back. They didn't. That's happened at least twice, in fact 3 times.
Mm-hmm.
That can't happen again. We need to have players who, if they've been told let go, that's it. But don't come back to them again like we did last time and pay them even more money to get them back. There is zero excuse. I'll tell you now, Decky, if we go into next season with this squad and 1 or 2 extra, people will not tolerate it. They will not tolerate it.
No, I agree with you.
And I hope the club aren't doing this whole inexperienced bullshit again. This is serious. So this is the season where it gets back on track. Enough for the last 5 years of rubbish. This is the season. I hope to Christ we're prepared for it.
Yeah. My point about what has been told to players is, look, there's household names have been told, and I'm not going to say who they are, right? I thought about this and I'm like, no. These lads have been here 3 or 4 years. they've given us a lot, you know, and they deserve to go out on their own terms. So they deserve to put it on their own social media, or for the club to do something to make the fans aware next Friday night. These are these players' last appearance at Turner's Cross. I don't think it's for us to say that, and I haven't told you guys the players involved, and I've kept it to myself. And I think, I don't know if I'm right or wrong, and I might get slated for it, but I think for the first time in 4 years, these players deserve a bit of our respect to allow them to put it on their own social channels first and things like that. You know, that's the way I see it. My thing about there's younger players who can do it. It's like Tim is trying to find money to sign players, and obviously within a budget, he has to work within a budget and the rest of it. But I do wonder, and I still look. I've said it from the word go, and I know he signed a new deal. I do wonder about that relationship between manager and owner and all those things around budgets and everything else. But as I said, the feeling I get from the conversations I've been had is that Tim is trying to wheel and deal and find money to allow him to bring in better players. And to do so, he's sacrificing players that he probably would have kept as squad players if he felt he could. But he has to generate money from somewhere. So now he's going down the road of keeping younger players who obviously cost less and leaving who may be genuine squad player contenders go to facilitate raising money to bring in better players, if that makes sense, you know. That's my feeling on it. We'll have to see what happens.
So you're going to have two players on huge money, loads of players on very little money, and shots in the dark on medium money. That's potentially what could happen.
Yeah, possibly.
That's absolutely insane. We've learned absolutely nothing in the last 2 years. If that's true, we'll know by February. We should know by January. We should know by the second week of January. Anyone after that, everyone's going to go, oh, relax, we're fine. There's plenty of time. If you haven't got the players in by the second week of January, we're back to where we were during Colin Healy's time, and we're back towards, we are like, it's...
Yeah, Preseason will be starting, you'd imagine. It's always the first week in January, isn't it? So as you said, Scott, if guys aren't in by the second week of January and in for the full length of preseason, you're probably behind the rest of the stage. Yeah.
But on the Rappers pod, Dermot was on a few weeks or months ago saying they were planning already for next year. So
yeah,
hopefully.
We've heard that before, though. Do you know? And we'll see. I said, look, I think January 14th, second week of January. Let's see. If the squad is healthy, brilliant. If it's not, we're in trouble. Simple as that, really. Like, and you can paint it the way, or wait until the end of the window, the transfer window. That means you're not prepared, or the players you're going for are not the players you should be going for. They should all be wrapped up by Christmas, New Year's Day. They should all be wrapped up. Find Cork on the second or third.
Just to be fair here as well, though, Dan, I'm not in any way having a go at the club, because as I said, there's always wheeling and dealing, and stuff needs to be done and sorted out. No issue with that. I've always said that our first season in Premier Division, there wasn't a shortage of money. I mean, that wasn't why we went down. It was how the money was spent, not the volume of money that was spent. Next season, again, I wouldn't be overly concerned about the amount of money Dermot is willing to put in. It's how it's spent, and whether Tim and Dermot can find a happy medium on budgets and things like that. It's always a negotiation between an owner and a manager. A manager always wants more than an owner is willing to give. Obviously, we've brought in Sean and Keats. If that's on top of the original budget, then we're probably fine. But if that comes out of that original budget, then we're probably definitely going to be trying to scrimp and save and cut corners in certain areas that may harm the season long term. But as Scotty says, we'll just have to wait and see. But look, I don't have any concerns about Dermot's willingness to spend money on the squad. It's never really been a concern.
So what's the concern? So I'm confused now, because the impression I got was there was no money there.
It's just about budgets.
But the impression I got from this conversation was that we had a low budget because Tim had to scrimp and scrape. But now you're kind of saying that you're not concerned. I don't know. I'm just confused.
I said I'm not concerned about the levels of money that Dermot is willing to, or has been willing to put in. But with wage inflation, what looked a good budget 6 months, and you've got to remember now, he said that he had his budget for next year done 6 months ago. That budget's out the window in terms of wage inflation and everything else. Like it's things. So he now probably has to step up and increase that budget. And that's the question then is there a willingness to increase that budget? Is there a willingness to pay Shawnee and Keats outside of that budget? Or, as I said, does their wages come out of that budget that was probably set 6 months ago? Because if it is, like Dermot has said he knows what his budget will be for 2025, or sorry, for 2026, 2027. I've always felt that's kind of
That's wrong
nonsensical because yeah, you have no idea where we'll be in that time, so my concern isn't around Dermot's willingness to put in money. I guess my concern is around how much, and have we realised that because of the wage inflation and because of the associated costs, that the budget that was agreed upon or that Dermot decided was there 6 months ago is now not big enough to carry us forward? And is he willing to go bigger and release more funding? And that's a conversation that himself and Tim will have to have and sort
Then
out.
you're just pissing money away and getting relegated again. So here, back to square one again the year after. You would want to piss money away, or you want to invest it. Investing it means we qualify for Europe and make the money back. Pissing it away means you're spending just enough. You might as well spend it on the toilet,
This Europe crack makes me laugh. Like, it genuinely does.
Well, look, we've had 5 cushy years now of people taking the piss. It's time to they get a pass. They get a pass now until next week, and then I'm giving them a pass. I'm saying, yeah, look, it was 4-1 to Athlone, one of our most disgraceful results in the history of Cork City. But it's fine, because you know what? They're probably all on the piss. You deserve it. When you're winning, you deserve to go on the piss. Shit starts next week. And it's time now to grow up, grow a pair of balls, get strong, and fight for Cork City Football Club.
When we finish in 40 for 40. And thanks, Crowley. That's the 45-minute pod gone anyway. Duncan Noonan, will Malik Dykesdale score 20 or 30 goals next season? Decky,
are they my only 2 options? Are they?
They're the only 2 options listed. Yeah.
I'll go for 20. So
Chris Martin says, results are a real concern now the last 2 months. Losing becomes a habit. Is the recent form hammering home the point that there's only about 4 players outside of the youth graduates worth keeping? Wayne.
As Decky says, that's for next week. We can hammer him next week. Let's just get through this trophy celebration and,
P.S. Dan, are you and the housemates showering together to save the planet? I'm one person in the shower only.
Yeah, especially in their showers.
Can't move. You wouldn't have room to scratch your balls.
It depends what way you like it, Dan.
Should the women always have the thing bait up to the last? Be like lava coming.
What? What?
No.
Move on, Dan. Anyway. Move
on. Connor says, out. Dykesdale, Dowling, Coleman, Brookwell, Murphy, and we have 5 players who are signed until the end of next season. I also want one of them to go, but I shall say nothing in case they stay. I'm just reading that out rather than you're going without comment here. Ian Crowley says, who would you want to play pre-season? Give us the shopping centre again. Revenge.
Absolutely. Revenge is needed, Dan. Revenge is needed from the shopping centre.
Well, because we're Premier Division now next season, Dan, you can almost figure out our pre-season. It's going to be Treaty. It's going to be Cove. Yeah. Won't be Waterford because they'll be Premier Division. So, yeah, you'll have a couple of the months. You'll have the Munster Senior Cup thing probably thrown in there again. It'll be fairly easy to figure it out, I'd imagine.
Ben says, will Declan be pitch invading on Friday? And what's your favourite Cian Murphy moment?
Will I be pitch invasion? No, I won't be in the pitch invasion anyway. I'll just stand up in the Donny Ford and applaud politely with the rest of the Donny Forders. My favourite Cian Murphy moment. look, as I said, like Keane's, he tries and he's a great lad, I'm sure. Like, and I really don't like. I know I've probably gotten this thing now with he hates Keane. I don't like, but we have to be ruthless and we have to be cutthroat, like, which we weren't the last time. But I think we are being this time. To be fair to Tim, as I said, there's a few names now who've been told they're going, and I think it's definitely more cutthroat than it was last time round. But it's different circumstances as well. I've given myself a minute now trying to think of a Cian Murphy moment, and I still haven't come up with one, lads. So I'm gonna have to pass. Sorry.
Wow. Jack Kelleher, are these last few weeks a blessing in disguise, showing the club the work that must be put in for next season? Wayne, would you call it a blessing in disguise?
Well, I think now, do I want to say this? These players are obviously being put in the shop window. That's now what I see of it. Are these certain few lads just being played so they can kind of find a club for next season? Do you know what? It's an area I don't even want to talk about, like, to be honest. Not yet. Next week we'll go 2-footed into every single one of them. Be fine.
Yeah, we might take a break next week yet. We'll see. The jury's out on that one. We have a DM, even though we kind of answered it the last few weeks now. Are there any players from the first division that you would like to see City bring in for next season? The way it's going, it's probably going to have to be the case.
Yeah, man, last week was quite good, wasn't he?
Kyle Robinson.
Yeah.
We had an opportunity to bring Kyle Robinson in last summer when he was leaving Shelbourne. I think I've said this before. Shelbourne told us he was available. We told Shelbourne we'd get back to them, and we never touched base with them again. He went to Drogheda and he scored 4, was it for Drogheda, or 5 to help keep them up. Then he went to Scotland and he's come back to Athlone now this summer. And obviously got a hat-trick last Friday night against us. I don't think there is, to be honest, in the first division. There's probably a couple of young fellas around the place if you did enough research, but they'd be projects, and we're probably full with projects. I mean, we have our own projects. We have Noah Swinski, we have Aaron Healy, we have Matt Murray, we have the young lad whose name escapes me now, who plays left back, that I said last week I'd be okay with him starting 10 games at left back. Yeah, Match Kieran. So we have our own. I don't think we have room for more projects. I said Leo Gaxa was one I would have liked to have a look at in the summer and have given him 4 months there to see what his thought was. He went to Athlone. He set up the 4th goal the other night. So no, genuinely, I don't think there's anybody in the first division I'm looking, because they have to be plug and play. They have to be ready to step in and play Premier Division football. And there's nobody has jumped out at me as being of that caliber from the first division this year.
That probably leads us nicely into the game. Athlone 4, City 1. Wayne Mullins. What did you describe it as? One of the worst results in Cork City's history?
When you look back at it on like one of those League of Ireland results books, it's going to look as one of the worst. Of course it is. But does it matter? I don't think so. I know people. I used to be the first person losing their shit from it, but it's the end of the season. Like, nobody's motivated at all. Like, the fans aren't motivated. This podcast isn't motivated. The club aren't motivated. So I can kind of see how it happened. It shouldn't have happened, but all the goals were kind of like they were crackers. Like, man was potting them from fucking all ends. So it was a tough watch, but you kind of sat there after 60 minutes just laughing. I did anyway. I just went out and filled another drink for myself and just started laughing and giggling, texting everyone, going, "Look at this shit's happening." And certain people were losing their heads, and others weren't. And I was sitting there going, "Yeah, sure. Look, who cares?" And it is worrying, because you should really play it to the end. But I also get why they don't. But 4-1 Athlone should never happen. It should never happen. Yeah, now you're saying it to me, and I'm thinking in my head, Athlone Town 4, Cork City 1. It's an absolute disgrace, really. I'm kind of coming around to Decky's view. I've turned one. I've done a full 180 here on this. Like, when you look at the close of the day, like 4-1 to Athlone is an absolute travesty of a result. You know. So I don't know. Come back to me in half an hour. I might say it's grand again. Who knows? I sound bad there.
Brilliant.
Decky, is this Athlone The Athlone Sound team seem to have our number a small bit. What is it about, do you think, the way they set up that troubles us?
I don't think it was anything to do with setup or anything last Friday night, to be honest with you. The first game that they beat us 1-0, I think they were somewhat fortunate. Friday night, it was more about us, I think, than it was about. No, look, Scotty said it. Kyle Robinson got 3 fantastic goals. The first question I have is: do either of you know, is Evan McLaughlin back from the shops yet after that first goal?
Gone missing,
because
gone fishing. Yeah,
and look, it's a great strike. But if you go back to that goal, it's our throw in on the far side, and McLaughlin has Robinson. And he just allows him to wander off him. And it's just like, I'm not really clued in. I'm not concentrating. It doesn't really bother me. We're 1-0 up. We'd be grand. And then Robinson has acres of space. There's a lovely through ball from Aaron Conley. Gets onto it. And then, as I said, as McLaughlin tries to recover, he's sent to the shops. And it's 1-1. The second goal, again, Scotty said, like, oh, it's probably unstoppable. And it is, from the point of view when he takes the shot, it's unstoppable. But he picks up the ball halfway inside the Athlone half, out wide. He's never challenged. There's nobody gets near him. He gets the shot off. There's nobody even making an effort to block him down. So we're really clued out of the game. We're really in don't give a shit kind of mode, I think. And there was a real lack of effort. And like all the goals, the third goal I'm trying to recall now. The fourth goal is the volley that he has from the edge of the... that's the third goal. Sorry, is the volley from the edge of the area. Again, he's standing on the edge of the area. There's nobody within 5 or 6 feet of him. When the ball drops to him, there's nobody closing down the ball. There's nobody working hard. And then the fourth goal is, it's a long free kick from Aaron Connolly. Winger does well, gets a ball across the goal, and your man knocks it in from halfway inside the penalty spot. But it's like they're just 4 really, really poor goals. And they're goals that can be prevented with a bit of hard work and a bit of proper attitude. And it wasn't there. And I think that was the most disappointing thing. And I know people are listening to this going, for God's sake, they won the league, nobody gives a shit. And I understand that, I genuinely do. But I do think at times you have, like Scotty said it there, there's players on the pitch who are either playing for a contract here next year or playing for a contract somewhere else next year. And you just have to be better than that. You have to represent the shirt and the crest and the club and the fan base. You have to do it a bit better than that. And I don't care if you've already been relegated or if you've already been promoted. It's like, just represent us a small bit better than that, please,
Geez, you'd be sickened for the fans that went up there.
Yeah, I mean, can you imagine going all the way to Athlone to watch that? And the thing is, we went 1 up and we scored a very, very good goal, McLaughlin does very well, plays a lovely ball into Dyke-Steele, little flick over the keeper, brilliant flick over the keeper, to be fair to Malik, and Keats knocks it in, and it's 1-0, and I'm kind of going, yeah, this is it. This is the game now where we're going to give somebody a thumping. And all of a sudden, we're the ones who get thumped because the attitude wasn't right. And look, that's fair enough, but we talk a lot in Last Dams about players setting standards in the dressing room. And people talk about Galway. That Galway team, that never happened to them last year. They got promoted and they just kept going. And the standard never dropped. And the style, the work rate never dropped, and the intensity never dropped. We got promoted this year and we've packed it in. What is it? Is it 5 we haven't won in now? 4 draws and a win or a defeat or something like that? I understand it and I understand why, but people who are talking about Galway and we can do what Galway did, look at it. Look at the difference in attitude. Look at the difference in work rate. Look at the difference in intensity. We can't do what Galway did. In my opinion, we can't, because we don't have the same ethic through the team that Galway had through their team, in my humble opinion. And that's not meant as a disrespectful jibe at anybody or anything. That's not the way I mean it.
This has been happening for years. At what stage do we actually do jibe at people? At what stage do we poke the bear? At what stage do we say this isn't good enough? This has been going on for 5 years. Players with shitty
that's true
attitudes,
too.
players who don't give. So, like, at what stage do we gloss over it again this season? Wait till next season, then the podcast are at it again, and we're giving out this, we're giving out that. Why are we signing these players? Why are they still here? I just don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know?
Like I was online Friday night. I'll be the first to admit it. I don't drink much. I had a few pints Friday night. I was out. So that was probably affecting my
I'm looking at
my
all
tweeting and
caps here
whatnot, like.
on our find the
Yeah.
words to describe this. Do not excuse this shit. If you do, it'll come back to haunt us.
Yeah. Don't excuse the lack of work rate. Don't excuse the lack of intensity. Don't excuse the lack of desire. Because if they're there now, they'll be there next year. When push comes to shove, you don't turn on and off these things, in my humble opinion. I know we've been promoted, but there's enough signs the last 5-6 weeks for us to go, okay, lads, there's a huge amount of redevelopment of this squad needs to happen. Has to happen. And that's what I mean by don't ignore what's in front of your face. Don't think we can get away playing Premier Division football with this kind of carry on next year, because we can't. And if people want to excuse it, I understand it, and I genuinely understand why. But then don't say you're surprised next year if it comes back and bites us in the arse. That's all I'm saying to people.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
Find the words to describe this. Declan's one there, as I just mentioned out. And then he follows it up with, closest we'll get to Europe is Derry away. Billy Dorney says...
That was my learned friend talking about Europe, I think, wasn't it?
I think so. Billy Dorney says, thank God we're leaving this division, otherwise I'll be committed. Billy Dorney says, remember the Alamo. Billy Dorney says, KBD. To be fair to Kevin Barry, actually got class photos at the fireworks and things, so the photos were
Brilliant.
Richie says, Jackie, next time Tim comes round for din-dins, can you slip a laxative in the parsnip and carrot soup so he too can realise that shit is not acceptable?
I've never spoken to Kim Clancy in my life. That's all I could say.
Kim Clancy, is that his alter ego?
What did my lips
You
kind
said
of got
Kim.
stuck. I don't know
Hey,
what
Maggie.
happened there.
That's-
Tim, obviously.
Kim's coming over later.
Billy Dorney says, I'm taking up that if we ever get demoted again. Life as an Irish plane spotter. James Greenham says, embarrassingly predictable. Billy Dorney says, good incentive to sort out our squad for next season. Cull. Duncan Noonan says, don't ignore what's staring us in the face. Ian Crowley says, Athlone equals banana peel. Scott Buckley says, forget about it. Aid Long says, trial and error. Ben says, didn't watch it, so I don't know. The Rebel Academy says, no excuses. 10 goals conceded in our last 3 games, pairing a centre-back duo of a left-back and a guy who's barely played. Our B team should still beat them comfortably. Not a good look for next year. I think we're in for a relegation battle again. Anthony O'Sullivan says, definitely not majestic. Philly Crowley says, shambles. Ian Crowley says, in a season where we've conceded only 23, 10 of these came in our last 4 games. Should we be worried or do we give a shit? Hashtag job done. Sean says, straight back down. Magpie says, Decky was right. No. Manuel says, shit. Topper says, what goes up might as well come straight back down. Gene O'Keefe says, absolutely unprofessional. I'm embarrassed. Troy Holland says, wake up call. Beer-bellied Hoofer says, why did City bring fireworks to the game? Because they wanted to blast their way to a win, but ended up just fizzling out. Kevin O'Connell says, shit show. Ian Draper says, disappointing journey, wrong type of fireworks. Jay says, embarrassing and a real wake-up call, but probably the best hat-trick I've ever seen though. CL 2023 says, should have stayed at home. Con says, Athlone. Ad Lawless says, accumulator destroyer. Connor says, no. Quinn AV, our friends in Athlone, says, simply brilliant. And Bernard says, Maguire will find he's come back to a much harder league. ... Goat. Laughing emoji. Any favour from that?
I like that lonesome there towards the end. That's
That was
quite
a good
clever.
one. No, that was
Yeah,
good.
that's quite
Right.
clever.
We're going to go now to the most prestigious award in world football. It is the TOTAP. Decky got it. It is the TOTAP MVP.
The most prestigious award in world football. It's the other three amigos' MVP.
Jesus Christ, this is depressing. 56% of the vote, it's Keats in second place. He let in 4 goals, but he did get 26% of the vote. It is Bradley Wade. We have a tie as well for the third spot. It's McLaughlin and Bolger on 9%. We only had 80 votes as well.
Christ.
Like this used to be like 250, 300.
Who voted for Brad Wade? Come on.
And that concludes the TOTAP MVP. That is the end of the first half, I believe, isn't it?
It's great.
Just before you go, Dan, can I just say something? I'm just looking here now. Obviously, I don't know if you're aware, Derry are playing SLO Rovers tonight in Derry in the Premier Division. And a couple of weeks ago, I said Derry were the greatest bottlers of all time. And tonight, about 15 minutes ago, I said John Russell was an exceptionally good manager who would and could go on to do very good things in this league over his career. And at halftime, it's Derry City 0, SLO Rovers 1. Just to prove
Derry
both
going to win this
points
so
in
anyway,
one
aren't
half, anyway. Huh? Derry going to win now. 4-1 full time result.
First strike again. Who's winning it? Who
Sorry,
is winning
Sligo.
it?
Sligo are 1 up at halftime.
But
I think Shamrock Rovers will win it.
Well, Derry had 2 games in hand. They drew at home to Bowes on Friday night, 1-1, and they're now 1 down at home to Sligo at half-time, their second game in hand. Like, I mean, I've never seen a team to horse a league away like Derry have horsed this one. People will say Shelbourne horsed it away. Forget it. Shelbourne are ahead of where they should be on the curve. If Derry don't win this league, they'll never again win one. It's just, I've never seen a club horse something away the way Derry have horsed this one away if they don't win it. Incredible.
Do you think Higgins has to go?
Even if they won it, I'd sack Higgins. I don't think he's genuinely don't even if he won it, he could win the double now. He could genuinely win the double now and I'd still sack him. That's just me in my world and how I look at things.
Well, they probably should have won it last year as well, to be fair.
Of course. Should have 2 or 3 won at this stage. Anyway, we digress.
That concludes the end of the first half. TOTAP will come back to us in the second half. We'll have the trophy lift preview and we'll probably find out if Gary Hunt is under pressure or something like that.
Hey, toe tapper. As you know, everything is increasing in price. Extra small clothes, anger management classes, raw liver is the same price as gold. And kids' sweets used to have 20 per pack and now only have 5 in each one. And Jack Doherty is on course to score 100 goals. And he's going to bleed us dry. We need you to help the gang by joining our Patreon for exclusive pods, news and much more. For a £5 a month, you can ensure that Wayne doesn't smash up his laptop, that Dan has really small clothes, Eileen is satisfied, and Declan gets lots and lots of jellies. Head to patreon.com/TOTAP to support the cause.
Welcome back to part 2, TOTAPper. It is the moment you've been waiting for. It is the moment we find out if Gary Hunt is under pressure. 2-0 loss to Longford Town. Away from home. I think the table now. They're 8th in the table. They both have 41 points, so does Treaty, but Treaty have one goal difference. Is Gary Hunt under pressure? Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Well, he's changed from Gary Hunt can. Which is sad to see. Anyway, the trophy lift in Turner's Cross this Friday against the Wexicans. Wayne Mullins, will you be in attendance? Will you be invading the pitch?
Very excited, Daniel. Another trophy that means a lot to the people of Cork. And I'll be there. Will I be celebrating? No, I don't want to celebrate mediocrity. I don't celebrate mediocrity. I'd be happy. Another trophy in the cabinet. But to me, this is like winning the League Cup, the old League Cup, the Munster Senior Cup. It's a trophy. I come home and I'll have my few drinks again, but I certainly won't be wearing my scarf, swinging it around loudly on people's backs and having crack and hugging people. No, that doesn't happen until we qualify for Europe.
Declan McCormack, you're just clapping politely, but what can we expect from the Wexford game? Are we actually going to put in a performance, or do you think, on the evidence we've probably seen, it's just going to be a bit meh?
I have two expectations. The first is obviously, I know this isn't something we have mentioned once. These words have never been mentioned in this podcast since we won the league. But obviously, Wexford and their manager are big on respect and everything else. So obviously, Wexford are going to give us a guard of honour. Nobody at Cork City gives a shit about it. Nobody in this podcast gives a shit about it. But obviously, James Keddy is big on respect and all that goes around that. So he will obviously want to show Cork City the respect that they are due. So that's the first thing I'm looking forward to is that guard of honour onto the pitch for Cork City. And following that, then I think Tim Clancy plays the strongest team. I think he starts as strong as he can. It's not a game that we want to lose. It's not a game that we want to fanny about and thing. So I think he goes as strong as he can go. Final game of the season, gets them up for it, tells them go out, entertain what I hope will be a big crowd. Genuinely hope will be a big crowd. And we do a job on the Wexicans, as you call them. And James Keddy trots off back to the playoffs. Quietly, hopefully.
And go to win.
It is the same James Keddy who had a pop-off view on social media when you were
know it is, and I seen him up at the Drogheda Wexford game, and I was only delighted they lost. So, yeah.
I think our cover of this week's pod needs to be a picture of James Keddy, and we just call it Guard of Honour.
Respect. Or guard, yeah.
And we tag him on every social media platform and make sure he knows that we don't forget. He was trying to give our Daniel.
No.
The wheel is always turning.
Wayne, what are you expecting? Are you expecting Tim to go hell for leather on this one? Or just...
yeah. You have to play the strongest team. And actually, none of this, have fun, go up there. It has to be proper, go win the game, batter them. Hopefully there's a big crowd. I'm unsure.
There won't be a big crowd.
I think there'll be about 3,000, maybe 3.5, hopefully. I think that's a push. But I hope we advertise it now and get it out there and, we remember our last game in the first division and hope that's our very, very last time here. And just go up with a bang. Get a few fireworks set off and stuff. And we should go up north and get some fireworks. They're legal up there. Bring them there. Oh, what's that got?
I made a visit somewhere the other
fireworks.
Shh. Don't tell anyone. Eileen will be on to me.
Can I just ask you there, Scotty? I saw something today on Twitter. What do you think our average attendance has been so far? Now, obviously, we've the last game, so we could push it up. But across the season, what do you think our average attendance has been?
Half those announcements were wrong. And I don't care what anyone tells me. They included season ticket holders or something. So I think our average realistically was 2,500. But I'm not betting, but I'd imagine it says 3,300. But that's no way is that right. Because there were certain games there and they were announcing 3,500 and we were looking, there's barely even 2,000 here.
Yeah, no. What should we call it? What's that site called again? Has it down as our average so far is 2,858, which I thought was quite disappointing, I have to say.
Well, it's definitely not true.
It's definitely less. Because we were announcing mad numbers at one stage. I think it leveled out near the end. I think we kind of calmed down. But we had people on the forum then going, oh, but it is. I'm not great at counting, but it was definitely 4.5 million people there. It's bullshit, like. The usual suspects.
Oh, lad. For a fella who was coming on the pod with a whole The season finished 5 weeks ago. I don't care attitude. You've got a complete 180 on it. Like, I mean, it's amazing.
Oh God! See, I don't talk about City outside of this anymore. I don't and even on WhatsApp, I barely talk. I don't go on the forum as often as I used to. But when I start talking about it, it brings all this hurt and pain and stuff back, and it's really annoying me now. Actually,
Is Scotty retired?
he's gone. Yeah, he's gonna be gone. Yeah, I'm gonna take a bit of him though. I'm gonna bring it with me and keep it close to my heart. The bitterness will stay. I'll keep that part.
I don't know what to say. We have the hour pod as well.
Oh, we do.
So
We have a Where Do You Go? A really short one of 5 lines long.
go on. Go for it. Let's go for it. He won't do it unless there's music though, Jackie.
Yeah. I want my song.
Just getting it.
That's in my top 10 songs of all time. I just gotta say that.
Where do you go, my lovely? Where do you go? I wanna know, my lovely. I wanna know, where do you go? I wanna know.
DJ Techie there. Okay, so we have Gerald Dubs. This is a short one now because I couldn't find much info on him, but he was born on 21st of January 1971 in Lambeth in England. He played 33 games for Wimbledon and scored the very first goal on Sky Sports Monday Night Football. His only goal for Wimbledon. Dobbs went on to play for Cardiff City and Dover Athletic, where we signed him from. In 1998, he signed for Cork City from Dover, alongside Dominic Iorfa, who was another Where Did You Go, and he scored 5 league goals in 32 games over 2 seasons, including a hat-trick against Waterford United. Dobbs went on to play for Cove Ramblers, who retired in 2004. The 52-year-old is now the owner of D&B Scaffolding Limited in Chelmsford. That is Gerald Dobbs.
Where do you go, my lovely?
My love.
Where do you go? I wanna know.
DJ cuts it off. Tell me, Scotty,
sings
what
that way?
else is in your list of the 10 greatest songs of all time?
Oh, Jesus. There's a few Bob Marley and Elvis in there for sure. I would say I like Aha, Take On Me. That's a good tune. Huey Lewis and the News, Power of Love, good song. There's a lot of 80s and 90s in here. Mark Morrison, Return to the Mac. A lot of shit in here, I must say. Who else? No Mercy sang that song. That's who it was. Do you know what it was? These are all kind of like, that was a song when I was like 15, 16. I don't know what it was. That song, it was about 90. When was Peter Andre? Where was Peter Andre's song, Mysterious? That was about 95, wasn't it? 94, 95? Becky? They're on the same time.
I know
like ovens and Coachford.
I know nothing about
and
Peter
Rocco.
Andre. I know nothing about
Okay.
Peter Andre.
He was married to Jordan.
Coachford. Jesus Christ.
Do you remember Coachford? This guys, you'd ovens, Coachford, Rocco, and what was the
Grenade.
other one?
Grenade.
Never went up there. That's Northside, isn't it?
Grenade's
I wouldn't dare.
North Cork, like, or halfway to Mallow.
I wouldn't. Oh no, I wouldn't dare cross the river. I still don't cross the river.
But you were in Coachford. Get out of that, let's know, I'd say. Figure things out.
It's Coachford Northside. Is it not? Is it? It was a Blair. No,
It's not
Coachford by Ovens,
Northside,
isn't
but
it?
Coachford's way out.
Yeah, but it's not Northside. I wouldn't cross the river. Is what I'm saying. Coachford's by Ovens. Do you cross the? Do
Coachford's
you cross
not
the
by
lead to get there?
Ovens. Coachford's
It is,
not
isn't it?
by Ovens. Coachford's out the
Oh,
country,
I've got
like, way out the country.
Shit, it is too. Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Eager beaver, as they say back in the day.
Sure, you were eager for Beaver, all right, I'd say.
Oh Christ! The good old days. The good old days.
With the slim shady hair.
Yeah. Yeah, no, what, 14, 15? No, I would have been 16 when I got the hair done. I'd say.
Anyways, I think. Oh yeah, give us a prediction for the Wexford game. Win
7-0.
Jackie.
3-1
last
and
prediction of
2
the year.
guards of honour.
We should have got James Keddy
right.
on. Because he wouldn't remember us. Now we just go all barrels going. We should have got James Keddy on. Fuck's sake. I didn't think-
Okay.
We'll get him on after. All right, and that concludes.
Oh, before you go on, that just reminds me.
Jackie's app.
Before you go, MVP, awards, etc. It's kind of like Friday
Oh
night.
yeah, who won it?
The last chance to,
I should.
I don't know.
We're still
Have
waiting on
to figure
Katie's
that
one.
out.
Like,
To figure that out.
will,
But like,
will we ask him? You know what we'll do? We'll ask him to get us one again, right, and see if he shows up this time. I guarantee he won't. Let's
yeah,
give
we've
him
two
the power
MVP
again to get it again
trophies.
this year. And let's see now if he turns up with the second one or he forgets again. Because I got the one.
Who's that?
Who was the second? Bolger one?
Oh, yeah.
I had to go collect the Bolger one, right? Was it Bolger? Won the second year? I had to go collect that because he was going to be late again. Last year, didn't bother collecting it. The first year was Cian Barger, we got it all right. But guarantee now, we'll ask him to do it again and he won't get it. Who won it?
Well,
Or do we tell people?
I don't know. Don't know. We'll have to figure that out. I'm not up to date. But that can be sorted. That can be sorted quickly. But we need to get trophies. We've two. One for Keats for last year and one for whoever wins this year's one.
Who are the shouts? O'Sullivan, Bulger.
Yeah, it's Greg.
Wade might be up there.
No, it's Greg.
I don't think
it's
he'd
Greg
take it.
or Greg or Cian.
Cian Murphy?
Probably Greg, I'd imagine. Why did I say Cian? Why did I say Cian instead of Cahill?
Cahill. Yeah.
That makes no sense. Anyway, yeah.
Well, look, if Cahill wins it, we probably have to get Dan to give the trophy because I'm not sure he'd be allowed to go near him. But anyway, we'll...
I'm not sure we're going to be able to go near anyone. To be honest, it's going to be like the first year with Bagsy again. Myself and Scotty hanging over the fence, rolling at you on his hack, and get Bagsy down to us, and Bagsy comes down, and we just throw it over the fence to him. There you go, kid. Congratulations, At least the second year we were allowed onto the pitch, and proper presentation to Aaron and whatnot.
I will surely be allowed this time round.
We will not be allowed. I think we need to do something to make it kind of. Will we just run onto the pitch for the crack with the trophy, hand it to him, and run straight back out?
We could, because the pitch will be invaded, so you could run on and try and grab Keats and go, Keats, congratulations on winning 2023 MVP. No, it's
Before
late, but it's better late than never. There you go, kid, and then run around and find whoever. Look, the only thing is if it's Greg, you catch up with Greg because he'll be using the walking sticks and whatnot to get back to the dressing room. Sorry, Greg, I'm only joking. Look, we'll have to see what happens, but we'll have to order a trophy.
Put it on a helium balloon, fire it over to him.
How about we wrap it up in a Basque flag that we bought during the year and just launch it?
We have
the club now will think we're pure serious again, like the shagging golf day, like
the golf. Yeah. They'll increase
They're
security.
only looking for excuse to ban us anyway. So, I'd say if we ran onto the pitch, that's their excuse done. So I'd be sitting firmly in my seat in the stand, not letting them have an excuse.
Smart.
Okay, we'll see what happens. We'll try to figure
We'll do something that will involve golf.
Yeah.
Take a few shots in Turner's Cross.
All right. Go on, lads. See you later.
It's time to wrap it up. Adios. What a high note to end it on.
The next episode will be available very soon.